Here, we are going to be talking about literally setting the appointment to the close. So we're going to be going through a live demo of that today, of how to create curiosity, get that appointment. What do you do at the appointment, the needs analysis, the demo of the presentation, and then closing. So we're going to really push to get all that stuff done here in a short amount of time for the sake of your time. So let's kind of jump into it, Jessica, if you want. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So basically, here's the gist of it. We're going to role play appointment setting and the different elements all the way to the close, because this could be a 1-day conversation with someone. This could also stretch out over a couple weeks. And yet this does happen in one conversation. So you're not going to get all the thises and that's from us. So if you want to join us for the upcoming classes that we have, we're going to break it down slower and have more of a workshop feel. But today is your day to actually see 2 master recruiters in action, doing our thing, start to finish, so that you can connect all the dots and kind of evaluate where you could use some support or help. So without further ado, Rich is going to be the recruiter. I'm going to be the agent. And we're going to break this down into the different elements of this conversation, start to close. Sound good?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
So first of all, I think most of you, know who we are. We've been, not only on the leadership side, but also coaching side for quite some time. I know, Jessica, you've been a team leader for 17 years. I've also, coached for, well over 20 years and 55,000 coaching sessions. And so collectively, we've recruited over 5,000 realtors. So we've definitely been in the trenches. So let's kind of jump into it. The first thing that we want to obviously say about the TCPA, make sure that as you're making your calls, you're setting appointments, you're doing it in a TCPA, friendly manner, right? Compliant manner. So here's the main thing that we want you to see, and we're going to demo this. Here's the model for experienced agent recruiting. Okay, this is the model. So it's baseball. We use the baseball analogy where we're in our baseball game, we're going to get base hits. We're not really going to be hitting home runs with experienced agents. And I think you would all recognize the fact that, you typically don't call somebody up and they say, here's my license, where do I sit, right? It's a process of meeting with them and identifying what their needs are and showing them how we can support them and bridge those gaps. And then maybe they have to close out some deals and there's a transition process. So, it's not typically one and done. So in our baseball game, you have to get base hits, which means that you got to get appointments. Without appointments, none of this stuff matters with experienced agent recruiting. So we have to master, how do we get in front of somebody? And then we need to master what do we do when we are in front of them, which is then the needs analysis. How do we set that up, create, a need, establish a gap, so then we can layer in our presentation where we can bridge that gap and show them solutions on how we can help them overcome their challenges and hit their goals. Then we're able to close, handle objections, and then work through the agent transition so we can slide into home and they're a new hire for us and they have a wow experience through our orientation process. And then we're able to leverage that success, and we're also able to leverage their influence to get another appointment and go around the bases again. So that's really kind of the model in a nutshell that we're going to be going over today.
And we're going to stop at each step, because I'll tell you, as a team leader, I tried to skip. I used to kind of hit first base and try to go for the close. I missed a lot of the needs analysis, and I get into selling and telling, and I missed so much opportunity there. So we're going to break it down and stop in between, just so you guys can see where we're at. And yet, if you do skip bases, you actually really harm your chance of closing anyone. So just be aware of that, because that's the biggest mistake most of us make in this process.
Yeah. So with that, let's talk about setting the appointment, and let's go through a few different dialogues if you want, how to do that. Remember, you have 10 seconds to create curiosity over the phone. So you got to do it quick. Time is not your friend in recruiting. So what are you saying to get that appointment? How do you wow them? Remember, you guys know this. They don't want to move. They're happy where they're at. They fear change. So how do we take somebody cold or warm and in 10 seconds wow them enough to where they want to, have a conversation with us? So a couple ideas right now. We just all got back from family reunion, right? So, I would call and say, hey, Jessica, this is Rich. I just wanted to call and touch base with you. I just got back from Las Vegas, where I was with 18,000, some of the top agents in the world, top keynote speakers like Tony and Mel Robbins, top economists talking about not only this new NAR settlement, but the state of the market and so forth. And I'd love to share with you some of these tactics and strategies that we got from this great event. What would you
Boom.
say, Jess?
Well, and the truth is very few people are going to say no to that because of all the curiosity. And even if you get a deflection, like, no, I don't really want to be recruited, or I'm happy where I'm at. Rich has got an offering that's like, he could say, well, would you like to join value? Would you like to go to Value Square? Would you like this or that? So that is a great conversation starter, you guys, because there's a lot of curiosity brewing in the air, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unanswered questions. So that's a home run. Another one that I like, this is a very direct approach, is, hey, Rich, it's Jessica Fox here over at KW Clearwater. I've been hearing great things about you from my agents, and frankly, you're the kind of guy I'd love to be a plan B for. Would you be willing to meet with me and cover, so I could cover with you what we're offering our agents in 2024?
Right, great.
Simple.
Exactly. Another great one, with in the midst of what's happened this week with NAR, that you could literally just call and just ask, how they're doing, with the changes that are coming with the new, with the current NAR settlement. Do they have access to training, to the information? We're hosting a great event that's open to all agents, that's free. On Tuesday, it's called Value Squared, and Gary Keller himself is going to be teaching that class on talking about the value propositions, how to position you, with value propositions to navigate through the commission issues that we're dealing with in real estate. Would you like to be included? So you could go something about what's happening currently, with this NAR thing. Another great one that has great shelf life is the playbooks. Hey, have you heard about the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Playbook? It's 180 pages. It's hot off the press. It's 180 pages, some of the best strategies from the top agents in real estate that are working right now in today's current market. I'd love to share with you some of these tactics. There's topics like AI, database, social media, just to name a few. Would you have 30 minutes? We could get together this week and I'll share some of these great strategies from the top agents in our business. So that's another
these are all home runs, you guys. You know what it is about having a conversation starter? It's about the one that you're willing to use and that you believe in. So Rich and I could go on and on and on with 20 different options. Marissa's going to like something. Colleen, you're going to like something different. Mitch, you might take a different approach. It doesn't really matter. These are all effective as long as you use them. So just make peace with that. Sometimes you hear someone, you're like, oh my God, I would never say that. Well, then don't. But find out what does work for you, because these are conversation starters. So let's just say I said yes to Rich. Rich, you got me kind of curious about this event that you were at. I need some fresh ideas. I'm struggling right now. It was an easy yes. We're getting together. So now we're at what step in the game? I'm going to go back to screen share. We're at the needs analysis, that first conversation, right?
Yep. So we're at first base, or the needs analysis. So with that, now, those of you that have been through our programs, or even if you have been to the skills camp in Austin, TL Skills Camp, the needs analysis is right in there. And that's where I'm going to basically, walk through a conversation with Jessica in this case, about, to not only build rapport, but really to find out, where her gaps are, what her needs are, what her challenges are. So then I can provide suggestions and solutions when I get to second base and bridge the gap through what we call the 10-step recruiting presentation that we'll demonstrate. So if we're diving into this, so Jessica, I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to get together. As I mentioned over the phone, I specialize in helping agents build business. So in order for me to help you build your business and share with you some strategies and tactics, I need to ask you a few questions about your business. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would it be all right also if I took some notes?
Sure.
Okay, absolutely great. So Jessica, tell me about yourself. Like, how long have you been in the business?
Well, I got in the business in 2021. I had been in the service industry and I just, I couldn't find any work basically. And I had several friends that said that they thought I'd make a great realtor. So I got in around 2020, beginning of 2021.
Okay, so you've been in the business for about 3 years?
Just about that. Yeah.
Okay, great. So how's it been going? I mean, are you excited with what you've experienced in the last 3 years?
It's been awesome. Up until recently, actually, I was doing so good. And I actually almost made Rook of the Year in my office. And then, this last year, I just really don't know what has happened. Nothing's happened. So
Okay, so,
it's
so
been
the
a tough.
market change has impacted your business in the last, year or so is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your vision, for your business, overall? What is it that you want to create, as you move forward over the next few years?
Well, I'd like some stability because I thought I was, doing so well, and all of a sudden things have really gotten to a very slow creep. So I'm kind of stressed by it, and yet I want to stay in it. So, I need to at least close 2 properties a month. I really need that consistency, and I had it, and I've lost it.
Okay. So you need to get to 2 properties a month. You had some good consistency and momentum, and that's dropped off, it sounds like over the last year with the market.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me an idea of what that means. Like, what's your goal? Your goal this year is what, 2 deals a month? Is that what you're saying?
I'd like to get to like 2 a month, and I'm somewhere between a half a deal and 1 a month. I mean, it seems like I've got about 10 deals that I've closed in the last year only. So I really slowed down.
Okay. All right. So we need to get to 24 transactions. You did about 10 deals last year. How have you done so far, for the, through the first 3 months of the year?
Not well.
Okay. Have you closed anything?
No.
Okay. So are you concerned about that? I mean, based on the goal and based on even what you did last year?
I am. I do have some things brewing, but I don't have anything for sure. And a couple of things I had are no longer. So I'm a little bit nervous of what I've got.
Sure. So, and I can understand that. So you're basically about 6 deals behind what your goal is of 2 deals a month through the first 3 months. And you're about 3 deals off from what you did last year, right? Roughly,
Yeah.
which is about 10 deals. So we,
Mhm.
we really need to figure out, how to get you on the fast track. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
So in terms of, your vision for your business, you want to get to 2 deals. Have you thought much beyond that?
Um, I would like more confidence in listings. I really didn't do much for a listing presentation in the past. And I'm a little concerned about being able to compete with some of the agents in my office, frankly, that are, more experienced. So
Sure.
I need some practice. I took a presentation at the MLS and stuff. I didn't really do anything more than that.
Got it. Okay, so you really want to get into the listing side of the business. How many of your 10 deals you did last year, how many were buyers and how many were listings?
I had 2 listings.
2 listings. Okay. So about 20% were listings. And especially with what's on the docket here with this NAR settlement and buyers and so forth. I think the listings is a smart play for everybody, right? Is to really, learn how to elevate and master, their listing side of their business. Would you agree?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
100%. Okay. All right, great. So your goal is to get to 24 deals. You really want to get, master the listing side of the business. Obviously you're behind from what your goal is and from even what you had made last year. Let's talk a little bit about, just why this is important. So, when you're doing 2 deals a month, right? 24 a year. How does that change things for you, your family? I mean, how does it impact your life?
Well, I won't worry. I have a lot of, I'm really uncomfortable with where I'm at right now. And I don't really want to go back to the service industry, but I'm tempted because I made a lot of money quickly. I made a lot of contacts that way that ended up being in real estate too. So I just, I don't want to go back to that. I don't. I did that for 15 years. I don't want to do it again. And yet I need to get to consistency to be able not go back to that.
Okay, gotcha. So, so in terms of getting you to 24, then it's really getting that consistency. Who's helping you with that?
What do you mean?
Is there anybody that's helping you with the consistency, with getting more listings, with getting on track for your 2 deals a month?
No, I just, like I said, I went to a couple classes at the MLS, but that's about it.
Okay. All right. And so nobody's really helping you other than what you can figure out on your own.
Yeah.
Does that concern you at all based on the current climate of the market and the industry? That nobody's
Yes.
helping you?
That's why I agreed to talk to you today.
Okay, okay, good. Well, and I appreciate that. And we'll get back to that and talk about some suggestions and some solutions around some of those things. So kind of back to what we were talking about, because I just want to get clear. So when you're at 2 deals a month, you have less stress, less pressure. How else does it impact your life? I mean, what would you be doing with an extra 2 deals? 2 deals a month for you is what? What kind of commissions is that roughly? Gross commission, which are per
Like
deal?
20,000, it's like about 10 grand.
Per deal. All right,
Yeah.
so about 20,000. When you're making 20,000 a month doing 2 deals a month, I guess it's 240 a year. How do things change for you besides, there's less stress? Anything else?
Well, I'm kind of used to that lifestyle and I want to get back to it comfortably. And yet I still want to get an investment property going and do some other things. And I need more cash flow to do that.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to get to these 2 deals a month to have
It's
that
it's
lifestyle?
a 10 at this point because otherwise I've got a lot of offers for going back into the industry of service. I just don't want to do it. And I'd have to get rid of real estate if I do. So I really need to make this happen or I need to move on.
Oh, really? So you're actually looking at potentially getting out of the business?
Potentially.
Wow.
If my momentum doesn't swing, potentially.
Okay. So how much time do you have to turn it around before you have to make a decision like that?
I've given myself kind of mentally till the end of the year, but if things aren't better by June, I mean, I just can't really justify not making money.
Wow. Okay. So really, you've got to turn this thing around in about 90 to 120 days.
I'd
Um,
give if I was doing better, I'd give myself to the end of the year, but I just haven't had any momentum. So I need a win. I need a win badly.
mhm. I'm assuming that's pretty concerning for you based on what you've told me.
Yes.
Yeah. So is there any, how do you see yourself turning it around? I mean, I know you want to get more listings and, but how do you see yourself literally turning this around to salvage your career?
Well, in the past, like when I got started, it just seemed to be so easy. Because I know so many people. And I'm really active on social media. And I mean, like I have so many friends that I've met over the years through just even being a server and a bartender and in the service industry. So I have like a ton of friends. So it just kind of flowed. And just it's like crickets.
Yeah. Well, in the market, I mean, we came off the best 2 years in the history of real estate, right
It's
after
a good time
COVID.
for me.
Yeah, it was
Those are good
a great
time.
time to get in and make a bunch of money. The challenge that most agents are having, not just yourself, is really adjusting to a more normal market, or a shifting market, which is what we're in. I mean, this is more of a normal market than that market was a normal market. So it's really a skill-based environment. It's competitive. It's figuring out how to capture the consumers, being creative with the financing and being able to get them into homes with the value, the prices and the interest rates and all those things. So there's a lot more skill and strategy involved in these types of markets. Okay,
That's
so,
what I need. That's right there. That's exactly what I need help with.
okay,
Because I
great.
don't even know what I don't know. I don't even know what I don't know. I really don't.
Would you like me to share with you what the agents are doing right here locally in today's market that are doing 2 deals a month plus?
Yeah,
Great.
that's exactly what I need.
So I would pivot right there off role play. I would, because I already have all the ammunition I need, right? Typically, you're not, in a lot of cases, you're not dealing with somebody that's that, motivated or desperate or in a tough situation. So I'm going to take a little bit more time, and I'm gonna reframe, and ask the different questions again to really get somebody's need, and get them to surrender to the fact that they don't have the solutions on how to get to their goal. That's my job at first base here at the needs analysis, is to get the candidate to surrender to, first of all, to recognize where they're at, their reality, and to recognize where they want to go. So it's positive or negative present, right? If you know about the 4 quadrants, and then I take them to the future. If you're a negative present right now, which most people are, then I'm going to take you to how does that play out the rest of this year and into the future if you don't solve those problems, learn how to become a listing agent and so forth, right?
Well, and that's true, Rich, in an easy market, that it's a lot more work here on the needs analysis. You guys, you got to work on this needs analysis harder during an easy market to dig up their pain because they're making money. This market has made it much easier to have this conversation, not only to get the appointment, but to have this conversation. So the scenario I'm giving you today, you guys, is this is 49% of the realtors out there are my profile that I'm giving you today.
Yep.
And they're at a brokerage where there isn't a lot of conversation about the settlement, and there's not a lot of classes to take about the skill they need. So I kind of gave you a scenario that's very common. And that's why you can have this conversation sometimes in one appointment. You have to be somewhat ready to do so. So
Yep.
Rich is right. Yes, you usually take more time on this, but this market is helping you guys big time to speed this up big time.
And to Jessica's point, time's not your friend, right? That we said at the beginning. So I don't want to ask more questions for the sake of asking questions. The needs analysis is 27 questions. Okay. I only went through about 6 to 8 because I have all the ammunition that I need to pivot and go right into a presentation. So just make sure that's clear, that you don't talk yourself out of an appointment because you're so committed to going through the rest of the needs analysis questions, when in this example, I don't need to. I got her right where I want her. She needs answers and she's ready for the answers. So I'm just going to go right into what we call the 10-step presentation, which is second base.
So
Okay.
I want to just point out one thing though, because I messed this up a lot. Rich was my coach, so he was like, "Oh boy, when is she going to figure this one out?" It took me a minute because I like to slide through the base here, and you want to make sure that you get what you need in terms of gap or pain points. And he's dug up several already for me, so he doesn't need to keep digging. He's already got more than one thing that he can help me with. He's got 2, 3 things right now already. And this is when he's going to start finally talking about Keller Williams. What I'd love for you to realize, he has not mentioned any solution yet. He hasn't talked about KW yet. And he hasn't because he knows how to do this properly. So until you get to the pain and the needs analysis, promise you won't talk about KW, pitch KW, or try to come in with a solution, because that's passing up the bases and kind of getting yourself out of alignment. So just be really aware of that. And this is something that is common in our role. So we're going from the needs analysis because he has what he needs, and we're going into the 10-step recruiting presentation. So
Yeah. Yep. And so what's also important is to make sure that you repeat and remind them of the answers they gave you. We do that on purpose so the candidate can hear their answers, and that creates the reality of their present, positive or negative. In most cases, it's negative right now, so that she's on the edge of her seat looking for those answers, almost desperate for the solutions to her dilemma. So I'm going to say, so before I go into the presentation, if I'm doing a one step like I'm doing right now, I'm going to I'm just going to repeat what she said. If I'm doing this tomorrow because we went long or something, went through the whole needs analysis, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm gonna recap what the ammunition she gave me to get her back on the edge of her seat. So Jessica, so what I'm hearing you say is that you need to get to 2 deals a month. Last year, that's what your lifestyle is built around. You want to have an investment property. Last year you did 10, which is a little bit less than half of that goal. And right now you haven't closed anything. So you're tracking right now for literally like 8 transactions. And what I heard you say that if you don't get this thing turned around by with some good momentum by at least June, you're going to start looking to get out of the business and getting a job.
Yeah.
Is that what I hear you say?
Yes.
Okay.
You do.
And the other thing you had mentioned is that you really want to build your business and learn how to build your business around listings. About 20% of your transactions last year were listings, and you want to flip that.
Yeah, I want to be a lister.
Okay, great. So I just recapped everything she gave me. Why did I do that? Because that's all she cares about is the answers on how to get to 2 deals a month and get more listings, right? So I want to make sure that I do that and tee that up that way so that we don't go off on these bunny trails. Well, tell me about your split and what kind of commission do you have? And, do you have any private offices and all this stuff where it's going to get derailed. So I'm going to be in control. I'm recapping our conversation with the key things that I got from that. So Jessica, let me share with you what the agents are doing that are doing 2+ deals a month right now in this market. So the first thing is called our business strategy coaching. And the way that our coaching and support program works is we get together with our agents and we dissect their business, kind of a little bit like what we did today earlier, and we formulate specific strategies based on their strengths, the opportunities of the market, and the goals they've set. Let me share with you how this coaching and support has helped our agents get on track for their goals. Bob Smith in our office was doing about 10 deals a year. Do you know that he's already on track after the first 3 months of the year for 18 transactions?
Wow. What is he doing?
Yeah, well, let me show you a little bit about what he's doing. So first of all, do you see value in that type of coaching and support?
Yeah, I mean, our company just doesn't have any coaches. I
Okay.
can hire a Mike Ferry or whatever coach, but we don't have that.
Sure. So how do you see yourself, using that or benefiting from that type of coaching and support in your business?
Well, kind of like I said to you, I just need someone to show me the way. I'm a worker. I work hard. I like to move quickly. But I don't have a plan. And like I said, our company doesn't really do that. So, if I have something that I believe in front of me, I'll implement it quickly.
So if you had somebody helping you with the plan, helping you really strategically dissect your business and capitalize on the opportunities of the market based on the work ethic that you have, how many additional transactions do you think you could add to your business over the next year? Just be real conservative. I mean, what do you think if you had that type of coaching and support?
Well, probably like what, you said this guy did, he's 18, I probably could do that. I could probably do more.
Okay, great. So, in terms of if you could do 18, is that safe to say you want to say 18? Okay, great.
Let's say 10. Let's say 10.
All right, let's just say 8. We'll just even cut it down. We'll say 8. All right.
8.
All right, great. That puts you on track for what about what you did last year. So we'll write down 8. Let me share with you also something else that has been very beneficial to the agents doing 2+ deals, and that's called our advanced agent education. And this is what we do nationally. This is what we do regionally. Here's what we even do locally. So as an example, I mentioned when we were talked over the phone, that I just got back from Las Vegas, where I was with 18,000 of the top agents in the industry. So that's called our family reunion, and we do that every year. And then about
Mhm.
midway through the year, typically in about August, we do what's called the Mega Agent Camp, where we do the same thing when we have, 8 to 10,000 agents that show up, and we have top producers and panels and sharing tips and strategies and keynote speakers. And then we do regional programs like, for example, Bold. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bold, but Bold is the #1 agent productivity program in the industry. There's been over 200,000 graduates. And it's a
Is
seven.
that a KW thing, or is that something any agent can join? What
Any
is it?
agents can attend it, and it's 7 weeks. Okay, it's a
Huh.
7-week program, and the average agent does 11 pieces of business in 7 weeks. So that's just an
Wow.
example of a regional
That would
program.
make me feel bad about my numbers.
There you go. You can take the rest of
There
the
you
year
go.
off.
That
Yeah.
solves my problem right there.
Yep. And then here's our training calendar, a copy of what our training calendar
Well,
looks
and
like
I gotta just tell
locally.
you, I haven't really done much for training. So, I mean, we don't, I followed one of my friends around a couple times on listings. I mean, I've not done a lot of the classes, and there aren't really much for classes because it's more online stuff, and I
Yeah.
just haven't plugged in. So I honestly haven't been around a lot of training.
Sure. And this is really advanced agent education, just like in Las Vegas. I mean, the top people in the world were there. So, sharing strategies, and there's a reason why the top agents go to these events. But you're right. And the other thing too is, when you started in the business, the market was a lot different than it is now, right?
Yeah. I want it
So
to go back. When does it go back? Is that coming soon?
I don't know if we're ever going to go back and see 3% interest rates, but be that as it may, it's a new day, and that's why advanced agent education and training is so important for top agents right now, because the market's shifting, and now in the midst of what's happening with the NAR and so changes, education is more important than ever before. So, okay, so this is what we do on a regular basis. We have our own university. I mean, we're known as a
Wow.
training
I didn't know any of this
organization.
about your company, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just ended up going where I'm at when I got started because I had friends there, and yet I didn't realize you guys had all this training. Is it
Yeah.
real expensive to attend all this?
Most of this stuff is inexpensive. Some of it's free. We'll get into that. So let me just give you an example of how this advanced agent education has impacted our agents' businesses. So Susie Smith in our office, talking about that Bold program that you were asking about, she was doing, about 12 deals a year. She went to the recent Bold that we have. She already has 7 transactions on the books
Wow.
in the last 90 days. So do you see value in this type of advanced agent education?
Yeah, I do. That sounds right. That's kind of what I need right there. That 7 weeks. Hmm.
How would you see yourself using it in your business, having access to this kind of curriculum?
Well, I almost want to be treated like I wasn't ever trained because I don't even know if with what I learned is if that's best practice. So I guess something like that would be helpful to kind of give me a base to build from. And I like learning, I like that kind of environment that's competitive. So
Okay.
that's
And,
that's
and, and conservatively speaking, again, I mean, just be real conservative over the next 12 months. How many additional transactions do you think you could add to your business with this type of advanced agent education?
well, I'm sure I could do what the class typically does. I'm very competitive, so 10 or more.
Okay. So we'll write down 10. Okay, great. Let me also show you about our models and systems. And I would pull out the red book and go through the 4 economic models, talk about how, your business of 24 deals, is very predictable. We know how many appointments you're going to have per month to hit that number based on the GC. I'm gonna show her some of those things, economic budget, and show this is the foundational model of millionaire real estate agents, which is the foundational model of any real estate agent. Provide evidence, ask if she sees value, how would she use it, how many more deals could she add to her business with it. She's going to give me a number. I'm going to obviously demo the technology, not do a training, but I'm gonna wow her in 3 to 5 minutes, show her the bells and whistles, provide evidence, ask if she sees value, how would she use it, how many more deals could she add to her business with it. So for sake of time, I've done that. And let's just say that, so I'm going to say, so Jessica, so the next step is I'm going to say, so Jessica, now you said that you saw yourself adding, 18 transactions to your business, right, with our coaching and support. Is that correct?
Yeah, I
You
think
said
so.
that you saw yourself adding, 10 additional transactions with our advanced agent education. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that would be something I'd really be into.
Yep, and 2 additional transactions from our models and systems. Is that correct?
Hmm.
And then 5 from our technology platform and tools. Is that right?
How
Okay.
many is that?
That's a
That's a
that's a
lot.
total of that's a total of 25 additional transactions, Jessica. Is that right? Is my math right?
I think so.
Yeah. And you said your average gross commission is $10,000.
Yeah, it is about
So
that.
10,000 times 25 deal, that's an additional $25,000 in income.
250,000.
I mean, $250,000 in income. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So when we were talking earlier, you said your goal is to go to 2 deals a month. Right now you're at 0, so that you can stay in the business, buy that investment property, right?
Yeah.
And really enjoy the lifestyle that you're used to. So Jessica, can you see how by just plugging yourself in and not even working any harder, you can accomplish that goal this year? Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Okay. So let's just say she says, well, yeah, but this, and the yeah, buts start coming in, right? My broker, and I got deals, and I have this. So now I'm going to start working through those. I'm going to isolate each objection. Okay. And then I'm going to, but I have 20, I have $20,000 a month on my side of the table, or $250,000. And her goal, her big why, and her getting out of the business as my ammunition, which is a pretty good, ammunition for me to overcome whatever she throws out at me, right?
Yeah. So
So,
before we jump into the close, I do want to put a bow on a couple things. So let's just 1 second, because there's a lot that you did there, Rich, that you intuitively just do. And getting from the different, the needs analysis to the 10-step to the close, there's little mini transitions that you naturally just flow to. And yet the foundation or the model that he's teaching is very predictable, you guys. And sometimes someone doesn't say, they 10 deals for everything, they might be more skeptical. So before we go there, when you're in that part of the presentation, that's okay to bring out KW stuff and put websites in front of them and show pages of books. And so I want you to think about, what do you show during that? Because Rich and I in this role play can't get to that granular level. So for example, when he's talking about our technology, a website to bring up that's really smart is getcommand.com, because it's almost like a recruiting website to kind of show the benefits of command. Plus, the recruit can go back to that website later when they get home and do more research, or share with their significant other at home kind of some of the cool things that KW has. So when he's speaking, he's also showing, like he said, like, I bring out the red book and I take out these pages. So for you, when you're recruiting, you have your props, you have the pages that you're going to go to, you've got the websites you're going to direct to, you get the testimonial from the people in your office or region that you're going to reference. He just did that, but just know, if we were actually together in front of a computer in a room, those would be the things that we put in front of you so that someone believes you. It's not just rhetoric. You're actually showing them the stuff, you're putting it in front of them, and it's believable at that point to them, because some of this is going to be totally new. Now, in this scenario, I'm pretty uneducated because I never needed to be educated, because I got into the business when it's super easy. That's a lot of realtors out there. So they don't know what they don't know. So if you get really good at kind of connecting the dots here and actually using our stuff during the, your validity goes through the roof. And I would even say, post conversation, you want to put this in an email, share the things you shared again, the links, the downloadables, the whatever, because that's what is real about us. The stories, the testimonies are great, but you got to add a little bit more to it. Would you add anything to that, Rich?
Yeah, that's thanks for bringing it up, because it's so critical that you have a presentation book or PowerPoint. To her point, that's all I ever, when I was recruiting agents left and right, that was my job. I had a presentation book and I would just flip the pages, right? So whether you have a PowerPoint, a book, just have, yeah,
Thrive.kw.com is your recruiting website, if you ask me. I think thrive.kw.com, the Outfront, and the getcommand.com, you should be able to cruise around your command as well. Those are really the main pages I ever showed over and over and over and over again, but I did have a PowerPoint at one time. Now I've
yeah.
gone to the website.
Yeah, the nice thing about having a presentation book, PowerPoint, however you want to do it, is it keeps you on script, if you will. So I'm flipping the pages and there's a testimonial that tied into command, that tied into coaching, that tied into events. Maybe for the events, I have printed out flyers of family reunion and mega camp, and then I flip it and show, and then it reminds me to talk about those things. So however that works for you, that's a really good point that she made. Is have something visual, because most agents are visual. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm closing, and whatever objection she gives me, again, I have $250,000 on my side of the table on her big why. And that's a pretty strong closing card that I have, because I'm going to remind her of whatever her reasons are for not joining me. Right, that she's sacrificing $20,000 a month, $5,000 a week, and her investment property, and potentially her career, of where she's maybe going to have to go get a job. So, in most cases, you might be dealing with somebody that's not as in a position where, like she is.
Well, let's just change it up. Let's
Let's
just say I work with a good friend of mine. Okay. I might be in the exact same position I am right now, but you guys know I'm loyal. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to break up with anyone. I don't want a disruption of a move. Let's just assume that's me. Okay. So let's back up to that, so I'm not such an easy close.
Yeah.
Make it a little more difficult.
It's nothing, personal. It's just business. I mean, I get that. However, you're kind of at a situation in your career where you're in dire straits. I mean, you're actually going to maybe get out of the career, get out of the business, if you don't get this turned around. You see yourself literally plugging into about $20,000 a month here, which is going to put you on track for the lifestyle you want. And you're currently at zero. And you had mentioned that your broker, as much as you love them, isn't providing the solutions for you to become a listing agent or to help you get on track for transactions. So if he's truly a good friend of yours, do you think he'd want to see you have to get out of the business versus finding solutions to live the lifestyle that you want to live somewhere else?
You're right. I get, you did that so well, I can't object. That's pretty good.
Okay. So now let's say they have deals to close, which is common, right?
I have one deal. I need this money. I cannot not get money. That's all I have. It's not closing until April 17th.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yep. So the first thing I'm going to do, remember we said isolate each objection separately. So, all right, let's talk about that. So when does it close? It closes April 17th. Is it a buyer or listing transaction? Got it. And how much commission do you have is the gross commission on that deal? And what does your independent contractor agreement say happens if you leave when you have a deal? I roll back to 50%. Okay, what split are you on right now? I'm on 70-30. Okay, great. So that means that there's a 20% hit on that commission, and it's a $10,000 commission, so there's a $2,000 potential penalty. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I guess so. See, most people think, oh, I'm going to lose $10,000. No, it's $2,000, right? Okay, and that's an easier problem for me to handle and solve, right, than a $10,000 problem. So now I've isolated that. I got the information, and now I can work on solving that problem. What are some things that we can do? I could give her 100% and make her whole until she recoups that $2,000, which is probably on one deal, right?
Yep.
I could cap manage her, say you're on 100% for 3 months, right? So I could do some of these things so that we can get started right now, because you have you don't have any business other than this closing. So we need to get going now, especially with
Right.
real estate being a
I love how
90-day
you
cycle.
create urgency with
Yeah.
that, and yet you break it down to what it really is. Because, these agents are in a lot of scarcity right now, you guys. You got to remember this. So they're going to be grabbing on to any hope of anything they have. Even like if they signed a buyer brokerage agreement and they turned it into their broker, they're going to be afraid of losing that. So extreme scarcity. So I love how he broke it down to like, what am I really potentially giving up? A few $1,000s, not $10,000. And the urgency of the need to get started and to build momentum in the right direction, to get training, to get confidence, to get a foundation is going to probably trump any of that. And yet every now and then you still get someone that's like holding out for that $2,000. Even if you could offer to give them the 2,000, they don't want to disrupt for whatever reason. And yet if you break it down like Rich did to almost the ridiculous, they realize, oh my God, yeah. And, you can always say things like, we don't control what your broker does to you, even though they're a good friend. And yet, if they do anything that's even more negative than that, I'll make you whole on your first deal with us, whatever that looks like. And that just kind of puts it to bed, because you can bring up like, I know this person's your good friend, but they might not be nice to you. And that really gets them fired up to make a move quickly if that actually happens.
Yeah, and then lastly, if you can't get them over with any of those things, make sure that you have the discussion about how is she going to handle transactions in any new business between now and April 17th when that deal closes, because otherwise she's going to be on the hamster wheel and we're going to have the same conversation because now she's going to have another deal between now and then, right? So don't be afraid to have that conversation, because that's a real transition conversation. So for sake of time, Jess, we want to kind of go into, some of the other things that we want to share with them that they have opportunities to plug into, or what?
One last close I want to give you all, because not everyone's going to be an easy scenario like the one we shared with you today, but this is your common scenario. So be prepared for one conversation and close, especially with 49% of the agents not doing anything right now. Second is always be closing at every conversation to set what's next, set the expectations. So you always close for them to join, even if it's in jest. You check in where you're at and you set what's next. So if Rich is a hard no for me right now, and he's like, I can't believe you got me even talking to you, I'm gonna at least get his commitment to do a KPA with me, to start coaching with me around a topic we uncovered. To attend something that I've got coming up would be my third option, or at least permission to keep the conversation going would be my fourth, because then you have someone to put in your nurture pond and you have a reason to stay in touch. So just remember, when you're closing, if it's not to join, it's to keep things moving forward. If you don't do that, you just kind of hang out in like a lull. It's like, what are we doing? Like, why do I have a reason to call you? I don't. And a lot of us get trapped there. So when you end any conversation, make sure you close to what is next, if it's not a hard close like Rich just did.
Great point. You always have to have a next step. You want to make sure that if you end the appointment, that you set up your next one, right? Otherwise, you're going to be chasing them. And then the last thing, and then we'll get into this, is lead follow-up too. So if I'm going to say I didn't get Jessica and I'm calling her back and I'm saying it's a couple 3 weeks or whatever. So Jess, how are you doing? I just wanted to call and check on you, see how things are going. I'm rooting for you over here. I know how important it is for you to get to those 2 deals a month and that $240,000 in income. So how are you doing? Are you on track? What's she going to say? I already know what she's going to say, right? Then I'm going to encourage her, Jessica.
I'm on track to go back to the service industry.
Jessica,
That's what they're
you
going
can
to say.
do it. You can do it. So I'm going to give her hope, right? You can do it. You remember how we talked about that advanced agent education? Do you know that Bob Smith just went to Bold and he took 4 listings in 7 weeks? Let's get back together again, Jessica, so we can get you on the fast track so you don't have to get out of the business and you can start, making that $20,000 a month with those 2 transactions each month. How's this afternoon at 3 or tomorrow at 2? So
Bam.
I'm giving her hope. by reminding her of what her goal is, reminding her of her reality, and then opening the door to get back together with me again so that we can get you going, right? That's the best lead follow-up approach to take. And you notice that all of this stuff around the bases all builds on each other because you're asking questions to lead to the next piece. And so it makes your job a lot easier because you're just using the ammunition, the stuff that they told you to close them with. She can't
Right.
run from her own goals or her pain.
Yeah, and
My
Howard brings
a reminder of it.
Howard brings up a great question. He says, Rich, would you invite him to the local bowl? Absolutely. You guys want to invite everyone to bowl. You want to say, hey, you deserve to go the first step to get your bucket filled and get recharged. And you deserve to take bowl to actually get your momentum back in the market ahead and get equipped. So just get them all to the first step at a bare minimum and get their commitment to the whole thing. Now, there's some great questions in here that I want to clarify. Colleen, you asked a great one. So Colleen brings up, this was a great conversation, that we had, Rich, but she usually finds that agents aren't willing to take the time to dive deep like we did on the cold call. So I want to clarify, Colleen, in part one, it was getting or role playing, setting the appointment. And I said, yes. The role play, the conversation starter he used was, I just came back from family reunion with all these, all this good intel. Do you want to get together? And I said, yes. So when we were doing that banter, that was the needs analysis section. So I had mentally already agreed to talk. So yes, but you make a great point. You can't recruit people over the phone. You got to get them into an appointment, either face-to-face, ideally, or a Zoom secondarily. And usually if you get a Zoom, that means you get to a real appointment next, which is belly to belly, where they're attending something of yours or actually meeting with you, wherever that might be. So that's great clarification. Does that make sense? Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that
Okay.
the next slide will answer a lot of that because one of the things that we did, we wanted to do here is just give you a quick demo. So what we're going to actually be doing is because we realized that, and then we also teach a 12-hour program as well, Rockstar Recruiting, is that we can't give you all this information, cram it in 1 hour, right? So we're doing a 3-hour recruiting skills action workshop where we're going to be doing a deep dive in all of these components, making sure you have all the different scripts and dialogues to get the appointment, making sure that you have the needs analysis, you can ask questions around it. We're not only going to role play, but we're going to go through why the questions are positioned and worded the way that they are. We're going to get into the value propositions. We just touched on 3 here. When I was doing the role play on the presentation, we're going to go through all of them and make sure you understand what they are and then how to present them in that 10-step format so that they close themselves. And then we're going to go through handling objections in detail and give you the objection handlers. We're going to go through the close and some of the stuff we just talked about.
This is a mega confidence booster. That's what I'd say, Rich, because we go through everything you need, but it's like you got to practice a little and you got to do it more than us just doing it at you, but with detail.
Yeah.
We can go deeper because we just can only do so much in 1 hour. So please join us April 4th. You can scan that QR code to register. And then we also have other things.
It's digital, so it's not live in person, right? So you can do it from the comfort of your office.
And if you need to actually get like your recruiting system set up and you want to chunk this down week by week and actually get into the nitty gritty with us, that's our 3-month program. We spend 12 weeks with you, an hour a week just working on this. And we have several pop-up classes as part of that, like your recruiting team, all of that. So this is
we go through heat seeker, broker metrics, all kinds of hacks and great things. And we dissect each section of the recruiting process. There's 10 key components to recruiting. We just touched on 3 of them today. So that's what this program is about.
That's Rockstar Recruiting. That's my favorite one. Not that I have favorites. And then Rich and I have, for those of you that can't make quite that big of an investment, want access to us, our intel, our content, our little monthly gift. We do have our recruiting collective community that you can join. You can actually scan this QR code, become a trial member, and the last gift we gave was a little flip book of the best of what Gary Keller shared at Family Reunion, and it's branded to you as kind of like a way to score an appointment or something to give when you're confirming the appointment to make sure they show, something you can recruit with, something you can share with your agents, something you could give at a team meeting, whatever it is that you want. But we try to give you a recruitable content every month that you can use as bait to get more conversations going.
Yep, smart plans, customized playbooks, like you said, that you can send out and use right away that we customize for you. So a lot of cool stuff there, and access to everything that we have in that community. So check that out, myrecruitingcollective.com.
Yeah, we're really passionate about helping you guys. I think you guys can tell we love recruiting. Recruiting is our jam. And Rich and I have really benefited with profit share. I think between us, we got like 1.6 million. So
Yep.
we've got all the blessings at being an awesome recruiter, and we'd love to help you all get that confidence. So join us in whatever capacity you need. Hope you got some value out of this today. If you did, share it with others that maybe weren't here. And thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
See you later.
Have a blessed one.